Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're doing a top 5 for you. Woo!
You're really excited about this.
I can't hear you cheer. Woo!
I think they're cheering on the inside.
I'm cheering in my heart. Today we're doing our top 5 Push Your Luck games.
That's right. All right. So Push Your Luck, this is a style of genre of mechanism where you have some goods, but you can choose to get more goods or points or whatever the case is, but you have a risk of losing it all.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're talking about here. That's kind of the idea behind the Push Your Luck mechanism. I personally am not a huge Push Your Luck fan.
Ryan is not. Talks about that in many of our reviews. I'm like, yeah, there's this Push Your Luck aspect to it, and Ryan's like, yeah, there's this.
That's the
push
worst
your
part of
luck
the game.
aspect to it.
So this is going to be an interesting game because I'm going to be coming at this list from the idea of I don't like Push Your Luck, but here's 5 that I do like.
Yeah, and I'm going to be coming from it from Push Your Luck's great. I don't know what your problem is.
Which is your 5 favorites.
Yeah, my 5 favorites, because they're awesome, and it's a great mechanism. But we want to talk about one game before we get to our top 5.
That's right. There's a game called Can't Stop. This game is pure Push Your Luck.
Pure.
And it is fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's a classic old Sid Saxon game. This would be number 1 on both of our lists if we were considering it. And it's probably number 1 on a lot of people's lists. It's so good that it's kind of like too good.
Exactly. We can't even put it on our list. And like Ryan said, it is pure Push Your Luck. There's really nothing else in it. You're rolling the dice and moving, and you're stopping or not. And that's it. Like, that is the game. So this is just a pure version of what Push Your Luck can be.
So that is our kind of like our secret number 1 overall, just to get that out of the way. But we're not going to actually put it on our list, so we can kind of talk about some other games that use Push Your Luck mechanisms.
Yeah, and I am going to go first with my number 5 being First in Flight. So this is a game where you are trying to be the first one to fly this plane, and you're going around and you're trying to go further than everybody else. But what's really fun about this game is it's a deck building game. But you have to keep the cards that make you crash. And so you don't know when that's going to happen. I think the best way to describe this game is mitigated luck. Like, there's definitely luck in this game, but there's ways that you can work around it. But you will crash. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. But I thought this was a really, really fun one.
All right, so my number 5, this is Incin Gold. This is a little bit of a classic. This is a game where you are kind of, I want to say dungeon diving, which is more like temple diving into an Aztec temple, and you are trying to get as much treasure as possible. Everyone who is able to kind of survive this temple is going to split the treasure amongst themselves. But you're also going to be facing a whole lot of challenges as you're kind of flipping these cards over. There's a lot of different bad things that can happen. There's scorpions, and there's spiders, and things like that. If you ever flip over one of those cards, if you flip over the first spider, you're good. Nothing bad happens. But if a second spider comes out, everything's gone. So you have to decide, are you going to stick it out? Are you going to last all the way through?
This game is stressing me out.
Or are you going to ditch the treasure behind, which leaves more treasure for everyone else who stayed, but then they also risk dying. So I like that kind of this idea of giving the other people a bigger share, but also, requires them to make that sacrifice as well.
Yeah. My number 4 is Lost Cities. This is one of those perfect 2-player games. In the game, you are required every turn to draw a card and play a card. You have to play a card. You have to play a card. And the reason why that sucks is because sometimes you don't want to play a card because you have your own board that you're trying to do, and everybody has their own board. You have the shared board, and people can take cards off of that. But also, you don't want to play a card because you have to play them in order. And once you go past a certain point, you can't go back. And so you think you can draw into this card, so you don't want to play the next card, but you also don't want to play this card because you know that they need it. So what card are you going to play? So much fun.
That is one of our early favorites.
Yes.
I still play that and just love every second of it.
Yeah.
All right, so next game I'm going to talk about is, I'm going to probably pronounce it wrong, Cubitos or Cubutos. It reminds me,
I would believe anything you said.
If Doritos made a cube shape shipped, this would be Cube-Eatos.
Yes. Gross. I would eat them, though.
Remember those 3D puff ones? Those triangle 3D ones from, like, when we were, like, I don't know, kids?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
man.
What were
I remember
they? Were they like still flavored Doritos?
Yeah, they were
regular-
like Cool Ranch and stuff like that. There was like these puffy, big 3D chips.
from when we were children.
Yeah.
We didn't really have.
Or like junior high era, maybe for me.
We didn't have money for like like anything fun.
Yeah, well, they
There
didn't
was
last
5 of
long. They didn't last long, but they were great. All right, so anyways, in this game, it's just kind of a bag building style game where you're drafting all these dice, trying to buy as many dice as possible and rolling them. And this is a race. You're trying to run this race as fast as possible. But a lot of these dice faces are blank. So you're trying to push your luck in the way that you're trying to get as many dice as possible. That way you're more likely to get some of these good faces so you can move around the track. But when you roll the dice, there's a good chance you're going to get absolutely no faces, means you can't run the race. But you can re-roll as many times as you want, as long as you're getting at least one face. And keep adding it to your pile. Roll the ones that didn't have a face. You can keep rolling, and rolling. But then if you only have 2 or 3 dice left, and maybe you get them as faces, and then you get a whole bunch of stuff. Or if you whiff, you lose it all.
Oh gosh.
But the reason I'm okay with this,
That reminds me of popcorn dice.
the reason the reason that doesn't scare me is if you do whiff, there's a whole separate track called the fan track. So instead of running the race, you can go up on this fan track, and this fan track's going to give you some extra resources, extra abilities, extra points, extra things as well over here. So even if you do bust, you have another alternate board that you can be moving up on, which I really like that something happens.
You might find that as a theme with Ryan and Push Your Luck. Like if you get rewarded for failing, then it's okay. It's totally fine. My number 3 is Deep Sea Adventure, and this is a game where you are trying to dive deep to get treasure, but every time you take treasure, it takes you longer to get back up to the boat, and every turn you're using oxygen, and everybody is using the same oxygen, so it runs out. I hardly ever score in this game, and so another game similar to this is our way of sneaking in more games to talk about, is Deep Dive, which has a very similar a very similar thing that you're trying to dive deep, but one of the things that's different about this one is you're never going to be out of luck. You still will be able to get things in Deep Dive, but in Deep Sea Adventure, if you play like me, you just die all the time. But I really like Push Your Luck games, so it doesn't bother me to die all the time. It's fine. It's fine.
All right, so my number 3, there's 2 games. I'm actually going to also kind of cheat a little bit, but not really, because they're the same game. They're just different themings of it.
Okay.
There's Zoolaretto, which is where you're kind of building a zoo, and there's Aquaro, which is you're building like a SeaWorld style zoo. So a marine zoo versus a regular zoo. They actually can be combined to make one mega game as well. But we just happen to have owned Aquaretto, so that's our jumping off point into this series of games, I guess. In it, you are drafting these tiles, and you are putting on one of these various trucks. And at any point, you can take one of these trucks. But then once you've taken a truck, you're done with it. You can't take any more. So you have to decide, if you really, really want, a dolphin, and there's a dolphin out there, you could just go ahead and take it. But you know what? There's spots for 3 animals on this truck. If I take it now, I'm missing out on 2 more potential things. But if I wait till there's more stuff on it, someone else might take it before I can get to it. So it's this idea of this pushing your luck of, I can put 1 more tile on there. Oh, I can get 1 more tile there. Imagine if I get 2 dolphins and some money.
Yeah.
Then, that'd be perfect. But then, of course, as soon as all those goodies are on there, someone else might snipe it out from underneath you. So this is a very tricky way of drafting those tiles. And once you get them on the board, of course, there's a whole new set of scoring. But the way that you draft those tiles is a very cool push your luck style auction, I guess.
My number 2 is Fire in the Library, and this is a game where a library is burning and you are trying to save books, but the way you save books is by drawing into this bag and you pull out these cubes, but there's the fire tokens, and as more fire happens, more fire tokens happen in the game, and depending on what boards you have, sometimes you can pull out 1 fire token and you can try to go for more, or you can just call it quits right then. But depending on what board you have or what's happening, sometimes if you draw the 1, you're out anyway, but you still have to draw. But it's just like, it's perfect. I really like this theme. I like how the books go down. I like the artwork of it, but it's also just like really fun. And which one of our kids likes it? One of our kids really likes it. Now I can't remember which one.
I think it was our oldest. She's the one that
Yes.
was able to understand it more, at least.
That would make sense. That would make sense. So our 10-year-old really dug this game. She asked for it a lot, like 2 years ago, all the time.
All right, so I'm going to talk about number 2. This is a game called Spookies. If you're familiar with Haba, they are a company that makes primarily kids games. However, they also make some like more family-style games as well. In Spookies, this is there's these kids, and they are all going into this haunted house. But on this, you have to, in order to go into this haunted house, the further up you go, you have to roll these dice, and you have to roll more and more dice, or more and more higher numbers on these dice. You only get to use 2 dice, but you can choose whether you roll 2, 3, or 4. And the more dice you roll, the lower your chance of getting a lot of points is, but the higher your chance of actually meeting the requirement that you need to do to go higher up on the track. And so do you sacrifice points in order for more safety, or do you really, really risk it and you go for just a couple of dice, use them both, but then, it's hard to roll a 10 or 11 or a 12 with only 2 dice. But if you have 4 of them, you still get to take the top 2, but your odds of making it happen are a lot higher. So I really like the control that you have of choosing. You can't choose the result, obviously, but you can at least choose how much risk you want to take on by how many dice you get to use. And of course, the higher up you go, the more points you get as well.
All right, we finally arrived. Here I am to talk about my number 1, but hold on a second. It's my turn to play in Mystic Vale. I mainly play on the app because my brother owns the actual version, not me. But I love the app. I play it all the time. So in Mystic Vale, you are drawing cards until you get, I think it's called like Ruin or Rot or something like that. But it's a symbol on a card, and as soon as you get a certain amount of those, you wash. You don't get to play that turn. So you keep drawing cards, but sometimes when you're building your deck, it's a deck building game. When you're building your deck, you know that certain cards are in there and they're going to work really well with things that are out. So you're kind of hoping that you're going to get it. So you kind of just push your luck just a little bit, hoping that you're going to get just that one other card that you need so you can buy stuff or do other things that you want to do. But there's always the chance that you're just going to like wash out and not be able to play at all this game. But I'm going to let you in on a secret to Mystic Vale, okay?
I'd love to hear it.
Here's the secret that Ryan doesn't understand about Mystic Vale. You need to do that. You need to just try to do that and die a couple of times. You can't play it safe or you will not win this game. That's the trick. You have to push your luck. And you're just push your luck adverse.
I love this game. I love the idea of this game. This card crafting, this deck building, all that stuff is so cool. The worst part of this game is the push your luck.
It's the whole game! It's the whole game!
I have no luck to speak of.
But I don't have luck either. I just try.
The more I try, the more I fail. I want to say it's like 100%.
It is not. It's literally impossible for it to be 100%.
It's virtually 100% of the time
that
I try
it's not even true.
A bust every time.
If you try all the time, then your percentages will be better.
But if I don't try, I know I'll get at least something. But if I do
pity.
try, I know that I'll fail.
But you'll only get like the pity cards. You won't be able to do anything awesome.
Fail so much.
That's the trick.
Well, what a cool game. Great choice.
So cool.
Bad mechanism.
Oh my gosh, so not true.
All right, so my number 1 game on this list, this is the Quacks of Quedlinburg. This is it's kind of a bag building game, but you are trying to make these potions, and there's certain things that you don't want to draw. There's certain ingredients that you don't want to pull out of the bag. So you can kind of mitigate that by adding more things into the bag, and you're trying to basically fill up this bubbling brew as much as you can. The more you fill up, the more points you're going to get, and the more income that you're going to get to be able to buy more pieces. So you want to kind of get as far out as you can so that you can do the most amount of stuff. Now, if you do bust, which, again, I don't want to, but if it does happen, you can stop at any time. You can stop pulling stuff out of the bag at any time. But
tell me, is it not super horrible?
It's not super horrible.
I told you, there's a theme with Ryan.
It's not super horrible. If you do bust, you normally would get both the points and your income, so to buy more stuff with. But if you bust, you get to choose. You get either the points or your income. So maybe early on, the points don't mean as much quite to you. If you bust, go buy some more stuff so that way you have a better chance in the future. Or late in the game, maybe, just give me the points that'll help me from falling behind. So you still have choices as far as how you want to take the punishment, and it doesn't feel quite as bad as being like, you know what, you get nothing. You lose. It's not like that.
Like in Mystic Vale.
Like in Mystic Vale, you lose.
But you have to lose to win.
It's got a great catch-up mechanism as well. It was just a very cool game. I don't like Push Your Luck, but as soon as we were talking about this list, I was like, I'm talking about Quacks because Quacks does it right. For me, as a risk-averse person, you still get something. You still get to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I think some of these games, for me at least, again, as coming from that perspective, I feel just like defeated just by playing these games. It just is not fun for me. So that's why a lot of my choices had some kind of extra. You get something, you weren't just like out, it wasn't depressing.
But I like that, especially with like Can't Stop and things like this. You start like rooting for people when you're playing it, when they're like in Fire in the Library and people are digging for a certain cube and they get it. You're just like so excited for them, right? You're just so excited that that's happened for them. When you're finally able and you flip that card in Mystic Vale and it's the card you needed, you just like, you get so excited for yourself. And the reason why I think I gravitate towards, or the reason why I enjoy Push Your Luck is because, and this has nothing, I'm not like trying to diss myself or anything, but when it comes to strategy, Ryan is just like a step ahead of me all the time. That's just how it's always going to be. It's still fine.
She does just fine.
I still like playing games. It's not an issue with that. But I feel like when we have a slight pusher like element to it, I feel like we're finally like on the equal playing field when we're playing a game. So I love that. The thing that stresses Ryan out is something that I really enjoy.
All right, so you guys, now we want to turn it over to you. We want to hear from you. What are your favorite Push Your Luck games? What are some games that you think Bethany would like because she likes that risk? What are some games that you think I would like because they give you more options and more things you can do, even if something bad happens with your risk?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear more options so we can add them to our repertoire, give them a try.
Everybody, don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks for watching our shenanigans. As always, we appreciate it. Over here, if you follow this link, you're going to find a playlist we've handcrafted just for you because you watched this video.
And if you check over here, this is a video that YouTube thinks you might like. So you can check that out if you want as well.
All right, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.